Today's topic on the paper code that MMTE006, right?
Yes, sir.
MMTE006. Okay. So basically, the paper name that is cryptography. What is the cryptography? What what is the meaning of this cryptography, and what are the topics behind this? What is cryptography? Cryptography basically Uh, this is a study of that secure communications techniques that allow us only the senders and intended that recipient of a message to view its contents, right? So the term that is derived from the Greek word that cryptos, K-R-Y-P-T-O-S, cryptos, right, which means that it is hidden. So it is closely associated to encryption, and which is the act of that scrambling ordinary text into what means what's known as that ciphertext and the back again upon arrival. So in addition, that cryptography also covers the avocations of information in images using techniques such as microdots or merging incident means trends were known to use these methods. So in complex that and Roman Emperor Julius Critias is credited with this with using one of the first modern ciphers, right? So when transmitting that electronic data, the most common use of cryptography that is to encrypt and decrypt the email and the other plain text messages also, right? So the simplest method that uses that symmetric or the secret key, that secret key system, right? So data is encrypted using a secret key, and then both the encoded message and the secret key, those are sent to the recipient for decryption, right? So next, what is the problem then? So if the message that is intercepted a third party that has everything they need to means decrypt and read the message. So to address this issue, this point, these phases, that cryptologist devices or devised the asymmetric or the public key system. So in this case, every user that has two keys, one public and another private, right? So senders receive the public key of their intended recipient and encrypt the messages and send it along. So when the message arrives, only the recipient's private key that will decode it, right? So meaning theft that is of no use without the corresponding private key, right? So human being from the ages that had two inherent needs. First one is to communicate and share information, and the second one is to communicate selectively. So these two needs that give rise to the art of coding the messages in such a way that only the intended people could have access to the information, and unauthorized people, they couldn't extract any information, even if the scrambled message failed in their hand, right? So the art of science and that concealing the message to introduce means secrecy in information security, that is recognized as the cryptography. Okay. So as I said earlier also, that cryptography that was coined by combining two Greek words. One is crypto, that meaning that is the hidden, and the graphene, that means the writing, right? So the art of cryptography that is considered to be born along with the art of writing. So at as the civilizations evolved, that human beings got organized in tribes and groups and the kingdoms like that. So this led to emergence of ideas such as power, battles, means that politics, etc., etc. So these ideas further fluid in the natural need of people to communicate secretly with selective recipient, which in turn ensured the continuous evolution of the cryptography as well, right? Now The root of that cryptography, those are found in Roman and that type of civilization, right? So the what is the oldest cryptographic techniques? See, the first known evidence of cryptography that can be traced to the user of that what you can say that hieroglyph, right? So some like see 4,000 years ago, the Egyptians that used to communicate by means messages written in hieroglyph. So this code that was secret, that was secret known only to the scribes who used the transcript means transmit messages on behalf of the kings, right? So later on the scholars move on to using the simply monoalphabetic alphabetic substitutions ciphers during 5500 and 600 BC. So this involved that replacing alphabets of message with other alphabets with some secret rules. So this rule became a key to retrieve the message back from the garbled message. So the earlier Roman method of cryptography, popularly known as that Cassiphus shift cipher, that relies on shifting the letters on the message by an agreed number. There was a common choice, and the recipient of the message of means that message that would then shift the letters back by the same number and obtained by original message. Right. Next point is that steganographic. What is that? That is similar, but adds another dimension of that cryptography. So basically, in this method, means people not only want to protect the secrecy of an information by means concealing it, but they also want to make sure any unauthorized person means any unauthorized person that gets no evidence that the information even exists. Right. So for example, invisible watermarking, right? So in this technique that means steganography, the means unintended recipients or an means intruder that is unaware of the fact that observed data contains hidden information. So in cryptography, hello, hello,
हाँ सर।
শোনা যাচ্ছে?
हाँ।
Okay, fine. Yeah. So an intruder that is normally aware that the data is being communicated, because they can see the coded or the scrambled messages, right? So what is the evolution of that cryptography? So it is during and after the Europeans, that various Italians and the papal states that lead to the means rapid proliferation of the cryptography techniques. So various analysis and the attack techniques that were researched in the era of that break of secret codes. First is that improved coding techniques such as that visionary coding that come to existence in the 15th century, which offers moving letters in the messages with a number of variable places instead of moving them the same number of places, right? So only after the 19th century that cryptography evolved from the ad hoc approaches to encryption to the more sophisticated art and science of information security, right? And thirdly, in the early 20th century, the invention of that mechanical and electromechanical machines, such as the means Enigma rotor machine, like that provided more advanced and efficient means of coding of information, right? And during the period of World War II, Second World War, both cryptography and that crypto analysis that become excessively mathematical, right? So with the advance taking place in the field, that government organization, military units, and some and some corporate houses that started adopting the applications of cryptography, right? So they use cryptography to guard their secrets from the others. Now the arrival of computers and the internet that has brought effective cryptography within the reach of common people, right?
Sir.
So modern cryptography that is means concerned tone of computer and communication security. So its foundation that is based on various concept of mathematics such as number theory, computational complexity theory, and the what is that probability theory, right? So what are the characteristics of that modern cryptography? See, three major characteristics that separate modern cryptography and the classical approach, right? So classical cryptography and modern cryptography, so there are two terms. So what are the difference between these classical or classic cryptography and the modern cryptography? See, classic cryptography that means it manipulates traditional characters, that is letters and the digits directly. But in modern cryptography, it operates on binary bit sequences, right? Secondly, you can say that in classic cryptography, it is mainly based on that security through obscurity, that the techniques employed for coding were kept secret, and only the parties involved in communication that means knew about them, right? But in modern cryptography, it relies on publicly known mathematical algorithm for coding and the information security, right? So secrecy that is obtained through a secret key, which is used as the seed for the algorithm, and the computational difficulty of algorithm, the absence of that secret key, etc., that make it impossible for an attacker to obtain the original information, even if he knows the algorithm used for coding. And thirdly, you can say that it in classic cryptography, it requires the entire crypto system for communicating confidently, right? But in modern cryptography that requires parties instead of means parties those are interested in secure communication to possess the secret key only, right? So those are the differences between the classic cryptography and the modern cryptography. Now, in the context of that cryptography, the study of that crypto systems uh, that can be subdivided into two branches. One is cryptography, another one is crypto analysis. So cryptography and crypto analysis, right? So in the context of cryptography, you can divide this cryptography into two sub part, right? Or you can say that cryptography that can be subdivided into two branches. One is cryptography, another one is that crypto analysis, right? So what is cryptography? That I already explained, that this is the art of science, means art and science of making a crypto system that is capable of providing information security, right? So cryptography basically deals with the actual securing of digital data. It refers to the design of that mechanism based on mathematical algorithms that provides fundamental information security services. And you can think of that cryptography as the establishment of large toolkit containing different techniques in security applications, right? And whereas then what is that crypto analysis? Cryptanalysis, this is the art and science of breaking the cipher text, that is known as cryptanalysis. So breaking the cipher text means, see, cryptanalysis, that is the sister branch of cryptography, as I said earlier also, right? Cryptanalysis, that is the sister branch of cryptography, and then they both coexist. So that cryptographic process that results in a cipher text for transmission of storage, and it involves the study of that cryptographic mechanism with the intention to break them, right? So cryptanalysis that is also used during the design of the new cryptographic techniques to test these security strengths, right? So cryptography that concerns with the design of crypto systems, while cryptanalysis that studies the breaking of crypto systems, right? Next, security services of cryptography. What is that? See, the primary objective of using the cryptography, that is to provide some means four fundamental information security services, right? What are those four? First one is that confidentiality. Confidentiality means, that means by its name you can understand that confidentiality, that is the fundamental security service provided by the cryptography. So it is a security service that keeps the information from the unauthorized person. It is sometimes referred to as privacy and as the secrecy, right? So means confidentiality that can be achieved through numerous means, starting from physical securing to use of mathematical algorithm from data encryption. Second one is that data integrity. What is that data integrity? See, this is the security service that deals with the deals with the identifying any alteration to the data. So the data that may get modified by an what I can say that unauthorized entity intentionally or accidentally, right? So integrity service confirms that whether the data is means intact or
Unaltered.
yeah, not since it was last created or transmitted or means stored by an unauthorized user, right? So data integrity that cannot prevent the alteration of data, that is said, but it provides a means of means for detecting whether the data that has been manipulated in an unauthorized manner. Okay, so the third one is that authentication. What is that? Authentication, that means it will provide the identification of the operator, sorry, of the means originator, right? So it confirms to the receiver that the data received that has been sent only by a identified, and obviously it should be the verified sender, right? So authentication, that service that has two variants. One is message authentication, another one is entity authentication, right? So message authentication that identifies the originator of the messages without any regard root of the system that has sent the message, right? And entity authentication, that is assurance that data has been received from a specific entity, say a particular website. So apart from the means originator, the authentication that may also provide assurance about the means other parameters related to data, such as the data and the time of creation or the transmission. Now the third one is that non-repudiation. What
Fourth
is that?
one তো
Hello,
হ্যাঁ বলছি স্যার ফোর্থ ওয়ান তো
third one.
confidentiality
Yeah,
integrity.
fourth one. Confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and the last one is non-repudiation.
Okay sir.
So here, basically, this is a security service that obviously all of those are the security services. So here in this technique, that ensures that the entity that cannot refuse the ownership of that previous means commitment or an action, right? So non hello,
হ্যাঁ স্যার
yeah. So means non-repudiation, that is the property that is most desirable in some situations where there are chances of that means dispute over the exchange of data. For example, once an order that is placed means electronic, right? So a purchaser that cannot deny the purchase order if non-repudiation services was enabled in that particular transaction, right? Now Okay. Just a minute. Okay. Hello.
Sir.
Hmm.
Hello.
So purpose of that cryptography that I've just explained, right? Now, types of cryptography, that secret key cryptography. Secret key cryptography, that is a single key used to means encrypt and decrypt. That key must be known by both parties, and assuming means we live in a hostile environment, otherwise why the need of that cryptography? So it may be hard to share a secret key. Next, private key cryptography. See, one of the keys that allocated to each person, that is called the private key, sorry, public key, and that is published in an open means directory where means somewhere where anyone that can easily took it up, for example by email address. So here each entity that has two keys, one is private key, that is a secret, and public key, that is well known key. Okay, so using the key, private keys, those are used for that decryption, and means public keys, those are used for encryption, right? So from plain text to cipher text, so using the public key encryption, that should be done, and from ciphertext to plain text, means using the private key means decryption, that will be done, right? So the types of that cryptographic algorithm, that plain text from ciphertext from plain text. So a secret key, that is symmetric cryptography. So SQI, that uses a single key for both encryption and the decryption, and means public key, that is asymmetric metric cryptography, that PKC, that uses two keys, one for that means encryption, another is for the description, right? So plain text to cipher text hash function, that there is a concept. What is that hash function? Hello.
স্যার তপন স্যার এসে আবার চলে গেলেন।
Okay, okay, fine. And the hash function, that is one way cryptography, that hashing hash function that have no key, since the plain text, that is means not, that is not recoverable from the ciphertext, right? So public or private key cryptography, or asymmetric key cryptography, that overcomes the key management problem by using different encryption and the decryption key pairs. So having knowledge of one key, that say for that means encryption key, that is not sufficient enough for means to determine the other key, that is decryption key, right? So the mathematical relationship between the public or the private key, that pair, that permits a general rule. What is that? That is any message that encrypted with one key of the pair, that can be successfully decrypted only with that key's counterpart, right? Next, hash function. See, it is a type of one way functions, that as I said earlier also, that this is a one way function, that is means those are the fundamental for much of that cryptography, right? So a one way function, that is a function that is easy to calculate but hard to invert. So it is difficult to calculate the input to the function given its output. So the precise meaning of that easy and the hard, that can be specified mathematically, right? So with rare exceptions, almost the entire field of that public key cryptography, that rests on the existence of one way functions. Now attacks of that cryptography, ciphertext only attack. So the only data available, that is the target of ciphertext, and known plain text attack, that is a target ciphertext, and pair of that other ciphertext and the plain text. Say previously that is broken or guessing. So attacks on cryptography. Another one is that chosen plain text attack. That is a target ciphertext that can feed encryption algorithm with plain text and obtain the matching ciphertext. And chosen ciphertext attack, that is a target cipher text that can feed decryption algorithm with ciphertext and obtain the matching plain text matching ciphertext. Right now, so the primitives means cryptographic primitives. Those are nothing but the tools and the techniques in cryptography that can be means selectively used to provide a set of desired security services. So encryption, hash function, message authentication codes, that is usually known as that MAC, and digital signatures. Right. So as I said earlier, also that cipher system. What is that? See, a crypto system, that is an implementation of cryptographic technique and their accompanying that infrastructure to provide information security services, right? So a crypto system, that is also referred to as a cipher system, right? So simply suppose just consider a model for a crypto system that provide that confidentially to the information being transmitted, right? Suppose sender and receiver are there. See, in the one part, see in the left hand side there is a sender, and in the right hand side the receiver, and the middle of that is the, say, interceptor, right? So a plain text, basically the sender who wants to transfer some sensitive data to the receiver in a such a way that any party intercepting or means intercepting on the communication channel, that cannot extract the data. So the objective of this simple crypto system, that is that the end of the process, only the sender and the receiver that will know the plain text, right? So plain text using the encryption key, that is encryption or and the encryption algorithm, through ciphertext and through description key and the description decryption algorithm, that will be converted to the receiver as the plain text, right? So what are the components of a crypto system? Plain text, plain text, and that algorithm in encryption algorithm, ciphertext, decryption algorithm, encryption key, decryption key, right? So these are the what you can say that components of a crypto system, right? So what is plain text? Plain text is basically it is the data that to be protected during the transmission. That means during the transmission means that plain text, that is uh, suppose any sender is trying to send any message to the receiver, right? So whatever the sender that is sending, that is, say, that is the plain text, right? So a sender that is trying to send a plain text to the receiver, and receiver, obviously that receiver will receive the plain text only, right? So plain text, that is the data that to be protected during that particular transmission, sender to receiver. Next to that, encryption algorithm. Encryption algorithm, what is algorithm, that we all know. So encryption algorithm, what is that algorithm? What is the purpose of this algorithm? See, this is a mathematical process that produces a cipher text for any given plain text and encryption key, right? So it is a cryptographic algorithm that takes the plain text and encryption key as input, right? And it produces a ciphertext. Now, means next, what is ciphertext? See, ciphertext, that is a scrambled version of the plain text that produces by the encryption algorithm, right? So using a specific or means specific the encryption key, right? So the ciphertext that is not guarded, it flows on public channel, so it can be intercepted or it can be means compromised by anyone who has access to the communication channel, right? Next is the decryption algorithm. What is that decryption algorithm? See, decryption algorithm, this is also a mathematical process, like that encryption algorithm also. So now what is the utility of this algorithm? Why we are using that description algorithm here? See, decryption algorithm that produces a unique plain text for any given ciphertext and decryption key. So it is cryptographic algorithm. This cryptographic algorithm that takes a ciphertext and the decryption key as input and outputs a plain text. And the decryption algorithm that essentially reserves the encryption algorithm, and that is thus closely related to it. Next two things are there: encryption key that I mentioned earlier also, and decryption key that I also mentioned earlier. So what is encryption key and what is the decryption key? Encryption key, that is a value that is known as means that is known to the sender. See, the sender inputs the encryption key into the encryption algorithm along with the plain text, right? So the sender inputs the encryption key into the encryption algorithm along with the plain text in order to compute the ciphertext. And what is decryption key then? Decryption key, that is a value that is known as means that is known to the receiver. So the decryption key that is related to the encryption key, but it is not always means identical to it. The receiver inputs the decryption key into the decryption algorithm along with the ciphertext in order to compute the plain text, right? So for a given crypto system, a collection of all the possible decryption keys, that is called a key space. What is key space? Key space, suppose a crypto system that is given to you. So a collection of all possible decryption keys, that is called as the key space, right? And that term, attacker or the interceptor, an interceptor, that is an unauthorized entity, that is why the name is like that, an attacker who will attack, who can attack, right? So an interceptor or an attacker, that is an unauthorized entity who attempts to determine the plain text, right? So we can see the ciphertext and may know the decryption algorithm. So however must never know the decryption means decryption key, right? So symmetric key encryption, asymmetric key encryption, that previously that we have just discussed, right? Now some challenges are there for symmetric key crypto system. Main challenges are there for symmetric key crypto system. What are those? One is that key establishment, another one is that trust issue, right? So key establishment, see, before any communication, both the sender and the receiver that need to agree on a secret symmetric key, right? Means it requires a secure key establishment mechanism in place, right? That is the thing. And in key means trust issue, see, since the sender and the receiver that use the same symmetric key, there is an means implicit requirement that the sender and the receiver trust each other, okay? So for example, it may happen that the receiver has lost the key to an attacker and the sender is not informed. So these two challenges, those are highly means restrained for modern day communication. See, today people need to exchange information with non-familiar and non-trusted parties. For example, a communication between online seller and the customer. So this limitation of symmetric key encryption that give rise to asymptotic key encryption schemes, right? So in asymptotic key encryption, there are also some challenges or limitations. What are those? We have to focus and means focus on the limitation or the challenges of that uh, this type of key encryption also. This challenges of that public key crypto system. Public key crypto system that have one significant challenge. What is those? What is this? See, the user that needs to trust that the public key that he is using in communications with a person, right, with a person really in the public key on that person and has not means spoofed by the malicious third party. So this is usually accomplished through a public key means infrastructure, or you can say PKI in short, consisting a trusted third party. So the third party security, or the third party means security, that means securely that manages and attests at the authenticity of public keys. So when a third party that is requested to provide the public key for an for any communicating person, say X, they are trusted to provide the correct public key, right? So the third party that satisfies itself about user identify means user identity by the process of attestation, process of notarization of some other process, that X is one and only or globally uniquely means globally unique, right? So X, that is the means the common, that most common method of that making the verified public keys available, that is to embed them in a certificate which is digitally signed by the trusted third party.